back to KNL News.
I'm Ken.
And I'm Lila.
And today we're reporting on the House of Representatives bills.
And meanwhile, here's the weather forecast for today.
Good morning, my name is Kenya and I'm reporting live with the weather forecast for KNL. Let's look at the weather forecast for today. Today's weather is partly cloudy with lots of sunshine. Now going back to the studio with Ken and Lila.
Hi, welcome back to the studio.
We're now going to fast forward to us going live with the President, the Senate, and
The House of Representatives.
we're live with the President of the United States, Carlos. Would you like to give us a brief summary of your speech of the State of the Union?
Well, no, I can't really give you a summary yet because it's not finished. But what I'll be mentioning is mainly things for the environment, how we're going to reform like guns, immigration, and then mentioning some stuff about the countries that we're at war with or we're at war with. Mentioning Syria and then some of the terrorist groups that we're fighting currently.
Would you like to give us your best accomplishments of the year?
For the year, right now, probably passing some of the reforms that we've done for weapons, like in the recent mass shootings, and pulling our troops out of where they shouldn't be for the time being.
What are your opinions on gun control?
Right now, I'm kind of divided between removing them from people that shouldn't have them and just making our rules a little bit more tighter so they can't get them, and the ones that already have them, it's easier for them to keep them.
Well, how do you feel about prison reform?
Probably just moving forward with making prisons less of a private thing and having them be run by local or state governments, just so somebody doesn't gain money from prisoners.
What are your plans for our country?
Currently, it's probably just making our country greener, so toxins and not toxins, air pollution, just bring that down. Making our smog-filled cities, have them bring their control way up, and then everything that the waste that they have, bring it way down. And then probably just our gun reform, something about immigration, and probably our affairs with the other countries, so allies and the enemies that we have.
The Vice President of the United States, Cynthia, and she's here to tell us more about her accomplishments. What are your accomplishments for this year?
This year we are planning to focus on mainly the environment. The last couple of years we have been on a downward stride in our environmental care, so we plan to improve that.
How do you plan on improving that?
We're going to help take toxins out of soil due to underground gas tanks spilling out, so we're going to help refresh and renew the soil in certain areas that are really intoxicated.
What are your opinions on the other bills like gun control and getting faster citizenship?
My standpoint on gun control is I believe that we should be allowed to have the right to contain guns, but I also believe that we should all be allowed to give background checks to reinsure the safety of the people who have the gun and also the safety of the people around them. On faster citizenship, I do believe that there should be a faster process because a lot of people are trying to get into the U.S. and make their lives better, but due to the fact that they're taking a longer time to do it, they're not allowed to do that fast.
How well are you and the President cooperating with each other?
We're cooperating very good. We see eye to eye on a lot of situations. So yeah, it's going pretty well.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. And now we're gonna head back to Lila.
Welcome back. We're here with House of Representative Jesus Sanchez. Would you like to state your bill, please?
Yeah. So basically, what my bill does is it reduces the average time to get a green card from 7 to 33 months to 5 to 12 months.
What are the requirements to become a U.S. citizen?
I mean, you need to have 5 years in the United States and with proof of no criminal record.
Is there a specific ethnic you would like to help, or can any immigrant from any country come to the United States?
It's any immigrant, yeah. So it could be from South America and those other countries and or it could be on the eastern countries too.
Thank you for your time, Jesus.
No problem.
Now going back to Ken.
We're here with the House of Representatives, Senate Jacinda, and she's here to state her bill. Please state your bill for us.
Gun control.
Why is gun control important for you?
Gun control is important to me because I feel that it is a big problem as Americans that we tend to sweep under the rug and disregard. As a result, many American lives are lost and no one ever does or says anything about it.
How will this bill benefit you and the people?
This would benefit the people because I feel it would make American families feel safer. And there will be stricter background checks that also check your mental state and restrict specific guns that aren't fit for civilians.
How old must you be to purchase a gun?
You must be 22 years of age and older to purchase a gun.
And one last question. What would happen if someone went against these laws?
The penalty for possessing a gun below the age of 22 is 4 months in jail, and the penalty for using an automatic weapon below the age of 22 is 5 years in prison.
Thank you so much for this interview. And now we're going to head back to Lila.
Welcome back. We're live now with Senate Mary Marquez. Would you like to state your bill for us, please?
My bill is to no driving once a month.
How will this issue help the world?
There's a lot of pollution in the world. If we stop driving once a month, then that pollution it won't be cut in half, but it'll help the pollution go down more. Because already in a day there's tons and tons of carbon dioxide into the air.
What are the other options for transportation besides bike?
Well, if you have an electric car that doesn't use gasoline at all, you can use that. As long as it doesn't produce carbon dioxide and electronics, but mostly bikes are the only option.
What will you do if the following situations happen? Like if an emergency happens, if someone is giving labor, if you need the police, and if a citizen lives far away from their work, how would you help them get there without a car?
Well, for the emergencies, if someone was in labor, then obviously there's exceptions. Like if someone was in serious need of a hospital, there's only certain amounts of police officers that are allowed the cars in order to enforce the laws that still need to be enforced. So there are some exceptions.
What are the penalties if someone decides to break this law?
There will be a ticket or a fine to pay. That amount isn't known yet, but you will also have to spend at least 3 nights in jail.
Thank you for your time, Mary. Now back to Ken.
We're live with the Senator, Brianna Rodriguez, and she's here to state her bill for us. Could you please state your bill for us, please?
My bill is that 14-year-olds should be able to work without a works permit.
Why do you think that kids should work at such a young age?
Because I think that it'll be a first job opportunity, and they're getting used to the work society, so they should know how it is first on certain circumstances, on how it is to have their first job and stuff like that.
How many hours in totals would they work for a week?
So they can't work more than 6 times a week and not more than 3 hours a day and not past that. And not more than 18 hours a week.
What's the minimum wage of the children?
$11.20 an hour.
What if the kids have other things like school, extracurriculars, like clubs, and other family things?
There's a rule for that. That rule is that if the kids call in and say that they have a school event or something that they need to do for school, they have to have that time off legally.
Thank you for your time.
And now heading back to the studio.
Hey guys, welcome back to the studio with KNL News.
We're going to fast forward to 1 week after the President's State of the Union speech.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans. Tonight marks the first year that I'll come here to report on the State of the Union. And for the first one, I'm going to try to keep it a little shorter than the one before me. But tonight, I want to go easy on the traditional list of proposals for years ahead. I got plenty from helping students learn computer code and medical treatment for patients. But fixing our immigration system is probably one of our main priorities. Ending our gun violence for our kids, equal pay for our work, our paid leave, raising our minimum wage across the country, and changing mainly things for our blue-collar families, not the 1%ers. For my first address to the chamber, I don't talk about just for the next year. I want to talk about the next 10 years, 5 years, anything after me. We live in a time of extraordinary change. That's why the way we live, the way we work, and how we treat our planet and our place in this world. At this current time, our country is at a very low place as of today. We're continuing to better ourselves and the country. In 2019, in our country, there has been 41,074 wildfires compared to 47,853 as in last year's same period of time. The U.S. has done way more to promote clean energy and reduce carbon pollution in the last 8 months than we have ever done before. From all that change, we have brought down how much our country has wasted in energy. When we led nearly 200 nations to the most ambitious agreement in history to fight climate change, it helped the vulnerable countries, but also protected our kids. When we helped Ukraine defend its democracy, or Colombia resolve its decades-long war, that strengthened our international order we depended on. When we help African countries feed their people and care for the sick, it's the right thing to do. And it prevents the next pandemic from reaching our shores. But in turn, our security and stability from our nation is still at stake, along with health and safety is in jeopardy. Not everyone is recognizing this. Now we have time to stand up and help ensure that our nation, we can help build back up. We have made our government the largest ever investment in renewable energy, and an investment aimed at doubling the generating capacity of wind and other renewable sources. In the 3 years, we are investing billions to cut energy waste in our homes, our buildings, and our appliances, helping American families save money on energy bills. In the process, moving forward with our nation's first offshore wind energy projects, we plan to add additional offshore wind power plants. And we're not only dealing with climate change, but we're also dealing with contaminated soil and polluted water, mainly due to fracking and inland. All around the United States, over percent of the lakes and 40% of our lakes in America are too polluted for fishing, aquatic life, or for swimming. Thousands of land across the U.S. are not contaminated. We need to figure out a way to keep toxins and contaminants out of our soil. If we can't do that for our nation, we'll lose over 75% of our nation's crops, which can potentially lead to starvation. We have found possible ways such as flushing out and renewing the soil and to getting toxins out. But we, instead of just spending money on that, we just plan on reducing as much of the waste. And over time, it will itself decrease and stop it from getting contaminated. The military is a big asset of the United States. Because of this, we are deciding to not cut military funding and leave it at what it has been for the past few years, which is $639 billion. Our military is in need of new technologies and new weapons, as it always has been, because of the current threats that have been coming up this coming years. It's mainly just to intimidate our enemies and stop them from attacking. That's what makes me so hopeful about the future. I believe in change because I believe in you, the American people. That's why I stand here as confident as I've ever been. That the State of the Union is strong. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you guys for staying tuned with KNL News.
It was a great experience going live with the President, Vice President,
The House of Representatives, and the Senate. Please stay tuned to next week's episode with KNL News.
Thank you and good night. We're here with House Representative.
See, now you know how I feel.
Good morning, my name is Kenya and I'm reporting live with the weather forecast for KNL. Let's look at... Oh my god, I messed up.
Now moving on to the forecast. Thank you for your time.
Shut up, Lila.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, Jesus.
Yeah.
Now go.
It's too awkward. Go.
Thank you for your time, Jesus.
Thank you guys for watching. Sorry. You can go through as well.
Yeah.
We'll just edit it.
Sorry.
It's okay. That. Wait. Okay. No, you can record. What was I gonna say? Why is gun control important?
No, you have to introduce it.
I'm jumping out of the window.
Today's weather is gonna be like...
Welcome back. We're live with the Senator.
My name is Kenya and I'm reporting live with the weather forecast.
What are the other options of transportation besides a bike if cars were banned?
Okay. What are the other